What's happening, YouTube? This is Brian916. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the engine repair job on this 2002 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4.7 V8. So let's continue from where we left off. As you know, we got both cylinder heads on, and I got the vehicle in the air here, so I'm getting ready to hook up the exhaust pipes to the cylinder head. So let's get started. All right, so here we are underneath. As you can see, we got the exhaust pipe, the down pipe right here. We need to get it connected up to the exhaust manifold. So I'm going to use this tall jack stand to get it up under the exhaust, and just to sort of push it up and hold it for me while I try to get a nut and bolt started in there. All right, here we go. Okay, looks like we got it to stay in place. Let me check the other side and see if that one's lined up as well. Yep, so it looks like that one went up in place, and we could get a nut and a bolt started. So it takes these little nuts and bolts with a little tab on it. All right, here we go. So I got that one started. I think what I'm going to do on the other side is give me a extension or a socket on it, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get the other side by hand. Got them both started. Grab a impact gun, zip them up. So I got my impact set up here. So run this down. I'm gonna put it on the a weak setting first. So let's get this on. Let's see. Let's just get it on 1. Just to run it up. Okay, and then we'll just grab a ratchet and feel how tight it is, torque the rest by hand. All right, let's see what we got here. That's pretty nice and tight. Let's give it a little more. Yeah, that's enough. No reason to snap the bolt in half. All right, so we got that side up. I'll go and do the other side and then keep moving. All right, let's get this thing back on the ground now. Got both down pipes hooked up. Alright, here we are back at the engine. That's how I left it overnight. Let's get these little absorbent mats off, / covers. Alright, that looks familiar. Okay, so I think at this point, let's get the timing chain and all that stuff set up. Let's get some assembly lube on the cams, and I'm gonna squirt a little bit of oil in the cylinders. I'll squirt them through the fuel injector hole, so once we start rotating the motor, when we get the timing chain on, we'll have a little bit of oil in those cylinders. All right, let's get some oil here, a couple squirts. Use a little bit of assembly lube. So I just put some right in there, in between the rollers. Have the chain, start getting the chain set up on this. All right, so let's get this timing set up. If you're doing this job, before you even get the cylinder head put on, make sure that your cams are in a 12 o'clock position, or the dowels rather, for your cam sprocket, the alignment pin or the dowel pin. Make sure it's in a 12 o'clock position before you get the head on, and then same thing on the other side. So if that's off a little bit, you'll have to rotate it over, but look, see where your cams are in relation to the piston. You may have to rotate the crank just a little bit to move the piston down just a little bit to get this turned over, and then you can put it back on TDC if it's going to open the valve. So just, you know, be smart about it, but try to get make sure you get the dowels at as close to 12 o'clock as you can. So here's the timing setup right here. So let's do this. I haven't done one of these timing chains in a long time, so here we go. So I got new timing guides. I got new chains and new guides and new tensioners on this job, so might as well. The guides had a lot of deep grooves in them, so we'll get some new ones on there. Okay, and then on the instructions, they wanted you to remove any excess oil from the cam sprocket bolts so that you can get the right torque on it. So I'm gonna sort of follow that trend and remove any excess oil off of all these bolts inside the timing cover, and then I'm gonna apply a little bit of Loctite on them. We don't want these backing out. A little bit of brake clean. Get a blow gun and blow these out. And I'm looking at the bolt holes. There's no excess oil in the bolt holes, or I would have blown those out too. I already did that when I did the block preparation.
I cleaned the block out, cleaned all the thread holes out. So I'm just gonna put just a little thin coat of Loctite on this. Get it started. And then I'm using the red, which is the extra strength, because you don't really want this stuff coming back out. Let's run those down. Torque spec on these, I don't know. I didn't take the time to look them up, but it's not a very big bolt. It's pretty thin, so put a little bit of Loctite on it and just use a quarter and snug it up. No reason to put a big 1/2 inch on there and over torque it. All right, so we got that on. Let's see. Clean this little sun gear off. Slide that on there. Okay. Get some guides going. So we need, this is the guide setup, the tensioning guides on that side. Okay, so set that here to refer to it. Assume this side is going to go down so that it could flush up against that. Makes the most sense to me. All right, let me grab some bolts. The aluminum color bolts go in the cylinder head, and the dark color bolts go in the block. It's not the biggest bolt. Snug it up, got some Loctite on it. Alright, so let's get the tensioning guide on. Actually, you know what? Let's get the fixed guide on the other side, since we got it open already. Snug it up. Just like we did the other one. All right, let's get the the other guides in there. The tensioning side print fasteners that go on here. So I'll show you that. They look like this, with Torx in there. It's T40 Torx. Get that going. All right, and so I'm gonna put a little bit of Loctite on these too. Where'd that guide go? Get us a T40. That one snugged up. So go ahead and put a little Loctite on it. The boss will crack right here on the cylinder head. So keep that in mind. Really don't see why anyone would need to torque this bolt that tight anyway. If you're not sure how tight to take it, just let me know. I'll give you a torque spec, but it'll bottom out pretty quick and just snug it up. That's all you need. Alright, here goes the fun part. Let's get these gears and chains on. So, let's see. We got 12 o'clock on this dummy cam, 6 o'clock on the crank. So I'm just gonna slide this on the dummy camshaft just for right now, just to sort of see which chain goes where. So yeah, this chain looks like it's gonna get the front. This side looks like it's gonna get the back. So that's going to be at 12 like that. Let's see, this thing has a dot on it. Clean this off a little bit. Can't see it. Alright, so that's going to be this dot's going to be at 6 o'clock on this guy. Okay. So that's actually kind of hard to see, the 6 o'clock. I'm gonna have to get a mirror or crawl up under it to actually verify it's at 6. All right, let me grab the chains and try to get this thing on. So it looks like we got 2 dots up here. That's gonna go around the dummy crankshaft or camshaft, the dummy camshaft, the double, and then the single colored link in the chain is gonna go on the 6. So I'm assuming we should set this up first. Now 6. Probably should have put a little mark on this to make it easier to see. It's not not quite. looks like we're pretty close. I'm just gonna get under the vehicle real quick, just poke my head in there and just verify that it's straight. All right, so it looks like it is on 6 o'clock. So that's looking good. All right, so we got this on. So that's good, but we're gonna pull it back just a bit. So we can get our chains on. Everything is working, so I can get a visual, a live visual instead of a drawing. All right, so according to the instructions, the single link chain is gonna go on the R for right, with the V8 pointed towards the top. So the V8's got to be at the top, all the way up like this, and then we'll get the single link like this on this. So it should look like this and then on the left side you're gonna put the dot on the L for the left. All right, so let's get the chains on. Let's get this side chain on first. Try not to get it all the way off the crank. Just get it off this dummy camshaft. We need to get maybe this side first. We almost got this mess in order. we got oops. Now we got the upper chains up and through the cylinder head. We need to somehow get our colored links lined up with the R on the cam sprocket, and then we also need the double solid links or double colored links. They should be visible through these holes right here, and that's how you know you got it lined up right. So let's work on getting these chains spinned around so we can get them in the right orientation. So I can see the two colored links right here. So if you got the two colored links right there, and then you want to get the other two colored links on the other side, but we know if we got these two colored links in here, then we should be pretty close and good to go up here. So let's work on getting that side set up. So this is the left side. There we go. Now in order to get this on, we're gonna have to lock the cam in place so we can move it where we need it. Put a little cushion over it first. So once you get, let's see, gotta get this zoomed in case somebody's doing this job. Once you get this dot right here on the L, the single colored link on, and then you got your double colored links that shows through the window right here. You should have, on this left side, you should have the double colored links that show through this window. So you just poke your head down there and see if you see the double colored links. If you do, you're on track. And then get this one on the dot right here. And then this V8 engraving should be pointed straight up. Then you just take your cam and rotate it until it fits in place like that. And there you have it. That's how you get these lined up. So let me go ahead and get a bolt in there so I don't lose my progress. As the instructions stated, they want you to remove any excess oil off of this, which we will. All right, so we got our left side set up. I'm gonna get the right side set up before I go through and torque it, just in case I gotta take something back off or something. I'm gonna go ahead and put this bolt in on the dummy camshaft pulley. Get these tools out. Clean it with a little brake clean. Blow it out. Just get a little Loctite on this one. Put a little thin coat. I'm not going to tighten that down yet either, just in case I got to move it in and out just a little bit. Alright, so I need to make sure I got my double colored links that show up in the window on this side, and then do the same thing on this side as we did on the other side. Like it's about a tooth off, so we'll go down here and make the adjustment down here. Needs to be about there, and we see that link is off, so we'll go down and move it one tooth. Basically pushing this chain around to try to get it one tooth over. I think that might have did it. Okay. So yeah, that's facing straight up on the V8 symbol. So it looks like we found our mark. It looks like that's facing straight up. So let's grab the vice grip like we got on that other cam, and lock this cam in place so we can rotate it. All right, got the cam locked in over here. Got my V8 symbol straight up. Got the colored link right here lined up with the right dot. Let's rotate it and get it in. It's lined up. clean this bolt off. Put some Loctite on it just like that one. Start torquing this stuff down. All right, so let me go ahead and torque these down to 90. Got 90 foot-pounds set. The other side, clamp this. All right, so we got those torqued down. I'm gonna get this snugged up, and then we can get our tensioners in. This is also a pretty thin bolt, so you don't want to go crazy on torquing that one down either. I'll change my glove, be right back. All right, let's get these tensioners in. Had to swap out my gloves for these really thick latex gloves. If you're looking for some really thick latex gloves, these are called Thicksters, I believe. I'll put a link in the description where you can find them on Amazon. Better safe than sorry. To get crazy. Put my light back. All right, so that's it for the timing is all set up. We could pull the pins on them. So pull all 3 pins. Now, let's rotate the motor. Make sure our marks line back up. And we can move on. All right, for the sake of demonstration purposes, I took all the spark plugs out so I can show you what I mean. First, let me oil up these chains and chain guides before we get to rotating this thing too much. just to make sure everything is good, the timing, well, we know the timing is on the mark, but you want to make sure you got good compression. Obviously this is not a cranking compression test, but this gives you an idea if you got compression in every cylinder. So you basically just go around, rotate the motor by hand, and you're gonna put the compression gauge in each spark plug hole. And you want to see compression come up and out. There we go. So you see we got compression coming up. So you can take this out, and if you want to turn the crank a little bit faster, you know, hear it a lot better. But you probably guys probably can't hear it on the camera, but I mean you can hear it hiss out of the compression gauge. So you don't really need to put a glove on it, but I just did that because you probably can't hear it on the camera. So you could go around, put your compression gauge in each cylinder, make sure you got compression building on each cylinder. So anyway, so at this stage in the game, let's go over to the workbench. Let's get the valve cover, gaskets in the cover. Let's get the timing cover stuff prepped, intake prepped, so when we come back, we can start covering all the internals. While I'm here at the workbench, I'm gonna go ahead and get all the seals in my intake and then in the timing cover. So let's get these in. Grab something to open this with. All right. Okay. Flip these up. Got one still stuck in it. Feel what's up and out. This gasket is very hard and brittle. Okay, so we can see it's got a little tab right here, two little tabs in the back, right here, and then it looks like it also has it on the cover too, here and here, so help you get it installed easier. And this still got a little bit of gasket in there, so let's fill this up. Alright, so let's get the first one in.
seems to be a good fit. See how well these stay in, because it's difficult to get these up under the wiring harness, but yet over the cam. So let's see how well they stay in. They stay in pretty good, so we should be okay, as long as we don't snag it on something trying to get it in. All right, so I'll leave this one here. This one going. Got this other side in. So we got our valve covers with fresh gaskets. Go ahead and put this up. Looks like it's in there pretty good. Move on to our timing cover. Actually, you know, the intake. Since it's right here already, got gaskets for this, so let's get those out. The throttle body gasket. Got a new throttle body gasket in there. And of course, get the main gasket we need. Just the intake port gasket. Those out. Harbor Freight pick. Alright, so let's get these new gaskets in there. Looks like it doesn't really matter which way it goes in, it's the same thing on either side. Get them pushed up in there. Go around, make sure each corner
seated. If you're doing this job and your 4.7 Dodge engine drop valves and it really like trash the pistons and trash the cylinder head to the point where you had to get a new motor or you had to rebuild the one that you had, do not reuse these intake manifolds. You'll find bits of metal pieces inside the intake. And I did a video on that. I'll leave a link in the description to that other video you can check out where I have the same engine in my Jeep and I rebuilt my Jeep from the ground up, new pistons, new main bearings, new rod bearings, same connecting rods, but the pistons were new piston pins, piston rings, cylinder heads was fully rebuilt, freeze plugs, gaskets all the way up, oil galley plugs, all that stuff new, new oil pump, and so check that video out. It's just a brief video of me showing what came out of an intake on one of these that dropped valves. So anyway, we've got our intake loaded up with new gaskets on it, so we can just drop this in when we get ready for it. Okay. Now, let's see, what else do we need? Let me grab the timing cover. Alright, so I got a seal. So I'm gonna put this crank seal in right here. And I'm gonna put this thermostat in. And if you notice on the water pump housing, there's a few nicks in there, here and here, all around this thing. So I may put a thin coat of silicone on it to fill in those little imperfections. Although silicone is really not needed for this water pump, but in my case, I may have to use it. Okay, first things first, let's get this seal in. That's the hardest thing to do. Let's see, what do I want to do? Okay, here's my seal. Don't want to hit these in dry. I put a little bit of gasket shellac on these that lubricates them and seal, but you could just put motor oil on it or some silicone paste. Any of that stuff's fine. This is the stuff I like to use. Stuff's kind of messy too, but it's worth the mess. Alright, so I'll get it all coated around there, like so. And we'll just go ahead and set it in. Grab something for my hand real quick. Right. So let's hammer this thing in. Just gonna use a wood block so that it ain't even, but let's get it straight first by hand if we can. Okay, get that put in. So you can see here, get this out of the way so I can show you. You can see here the gasket shellac. You can see how it seals in between any imperfections. So we got the gasket shellac and into those imperfections and any imperfections that may be in there. And it also provides a nice lubricant while hitting it in. And then you just take a little bit of brake clean and clean the excess. Alright, so let me clean off the excess gasket shellac. And it cleans off really easy. Nice and clean now, nice and installed. All right, so we got the crank seal in. Put my shellac up. I use these on rear main seals and front crank seals, cam seals. Use them on our thermostat. This is a genuine Mopar thermostat. Always use a genuine thermostat if you can. The only real success that I've had with aftermarket thermostats has been Murray's thermostats. Motor Rad and all that other stuff. I've never had good success with those. Go ahead and drop it in. Let me grab the little plastic housing for this guy. Alright, so we got the little plastic thermostat housing. We'll clean it off with a little brake clean. Got the lower radiator hose still attached to it, which I'm glad I did because that hose needs to be replaced. And doing a big job like this, you don't want to overlook little stuff that'll ruin a job, like radiator caps, thermostats, hoses, radiator hoses, stuff like that. So especially the lower radiator hose, that one's easily overlooked because it's at the bottom. Alright, so we got this thing cleaned off best we can. Just going to take my time and check it for cracks. It is plastic. Looks okay. All right, so let me grab a 10mm. Snug this housing down. And so we got most of our components prepped and ready to go on. Let me grab it. On this, you'll feel when it bottoms out. It's plastic, so there's no need to go crazy on this. But we have our timing cover ready to go. Back surface has been cleaned up, ready for a new gasket, front crank seal in, and our thermostat and housing. Also, we got our valve covers with new gaskets in them, and we got our intake with new gaskets in it and new throttle body. So let's get it over here and start installing this stuff.